Is my presentation visible to everyone?
Yes, visible.
Okay, so okay. So today we are going to discuss about inquiry-led learning, encouraging curiosity over memorization. This is my topic for today. So before I go into the topic, I'll just give a definition of what is inquiry-led learning. So inquiry-based learning, in British language, we spell it as inquiry. We used to put E instead of I. So inquiry-based learning is a form of active learning that starts by posing questions, problems, or scenarios. See, in today's competitive world, if a child completes his schooling or even his collegiate studies, or even if he complete his doctorate, whenever he attends the interviewer never see only his mark list. They see combination of things like communication skill, personality development, his soft skills. So it's like a combination of qualities an interviewer expects from a candidate. So a candidate is not just being selected based on their marks, which he or she would have scored. So even if a candidate has scored 500 out of 500 in SSLC, 499 out of 500 in SSLC, or even 598 out of 600 in HSC. So it determines only the knowledge of the child. So based on his knowledge only, he would have scored such particular highest marks. But knowledge alone will not drive him to success. So in order to drive towards success, a child should think, understand the subject as a whole, try to apply it in their life. Then only he may be able to become more successful in his life. So how this will happen in school or in college means a teacher has to play an important role. They should not just go into the classroom like a teacher, but they should go and be a facilitator to the student. So the facilitation comes only when a teacher adapts this inquiry-based learning. So let us see now what is this inquiry-based learning. So in our era, when I used to study in our school, majority of the teachers will stress on memorization techniques. Okay. So it will be like the classroom will be like teacher centric one, where a teacher comes inside the class, pick some chalk piece and write something on the board, and they will just explain the whole concept, whatever is there in the book, and they will ask us to study and come for the test. So this is what happened, and still it is happening in most of the schools. I'm not saying that all the teachers are doing the same way. All the teachers are adapting only the lecturing method. There are few teachers who adapt, who rely only based on lecturing method. So due to lecturing method, what happens is a student is forced to do only memorization. A student will not be given opportunity to think, understand, and learn the concepts. Okay. But here we are now going to shift from memorization to inquiry-based technique. So when we shift from memorization to inquiry-based technique, what are all the qualities, okay, student gains? So the first thing is the classroom will be more of student-centered approach instead of teacher-oriented, teacher-centered approach. So here, a teacher, once they enter inside the classroom, only the first 10 minutes of the session will be handed over by the teacher. Okay. A teacher will revise the concept, what they taught in the previous class. And then for some 10 minutes, okay, whatever the topic he's going to teach about that, just a gist of it, a teacher will explain. Only the concept, the teacher will explain. Thereafter, what will happen is majority of the class is engaged by giving lot of activities to the students. So this is what is meant for student-centered approach. How the activities will be different for different subjects. If it is in English, it can be of different activity. Like for example, you can conduct debate, you can conduct a seminar, You can conduct group discussion. You can give flashcard to the student and ask them to rearrange and try to frame sentences. So like this, different kind of activities you can do based on the topic, I mean necessity of the particular topic. If it is a science classroom, we have to, okay, at least, I mean, once in a week or twice in a week, we must engage our students to do the experiments. Okay. So like this, based on the subject, the activity will differ. So here we are giving more work to the student instead of the teacher. Okay. He exhausts himself for the entire 45 minutes class. So when we convert our classroom into student-centric approach, what will happen is here the active learning happens because every student gets involved and every student will try to put something effort. Okay. Even if it is a very active learner, okay, he will put more of his effort. If he is a slow learner student or a focused learner student, based on his capability also, he will try to put effort. Okay, so here no student remains passive. No student remains, I mean, remains idle. So everybody will be given some task, and based on his capability, he will complete the task on a given stipulated time. So here the student will try to use his brain in order to complete the task. And when we engage the student in active learning, what happens? Collaborative environment will create. Okay, because if you want to conduct a debate, you need two teams. If you want to conduct group discussion, you need to form certain groups. If you want to play quiz, again, you need to form different teams. Okay, so if it is a teamwork, definitely all the members of the team will try to give their best, will try to think, will try to analyze. Okay, so say for example, if as a science teacher, if I want to teach about water of crystallization. Let's say there is a topic called water of crystallization. Here I have to demonstrate and explain the students, okay, how salt changes its color when we heat and why it changes its color. Okay, how the water molecules gets lost in that particular salt. Okay, so this thing, if I say orally, if I just put it in the equation form, a student, very few of them will try to understand the concept. But the same thing, okay, if I bring the salt, if I bring the test tube, if I heat it and show it to them, if I demonstrate it lively to them, how the copper sulfate salt or any other ferrous sulfate salt, okay, how they change its color from, if it is copper sulfate salt, how it is changing from blue color to white, how it becomes colorless, and again when we add water, how it is again turning into blue color. So like this, if we demonstrate and show it to them, a student will never forget it. He will always remember for the entire lifetime. Okay, even if he is a very focused learner student, very slow learner student also, that student will keenly observe the experiment what we do. And if we ask them itself to come and do this experiment again, repeat it again, okay, once they come and do, once they become involved, they will never ever forget that concept. Okay, so what is getting developed here when we create a collaborative environment? Focus on the process is happening. Okay, so uh, a teacher, once they go inside the classroom, okay, if they have to give some activity to the student, that process, timing and everything, the planning, everything, they should do it in prayer. Okay. I mean, when they prepare the lesson plan itself, okay, they have to uh, prepare all these kind of activities. What activity I have to do today, how many teams I have to make, okay, what sort of questions I have to give it to them, in how many minutes they have to respond. So all this process, if they plan it earlier, the student will also do the process in the same flow. Okay, so when the students are doing the activity or experiment or any kind of gamification thing, okay, they will fully focus on the process until it gets complete. Okay, so here what will happen is it will sharpen their brain. And the next one, development of critical thinking and inquiry skills. This is very important. See, nowadays the competitive exams, okay, be it like UPSC exam or TNPSC exams or even NEET exam, JEE exam, whatever the exams the student approach, So the exam demands only about the critical thinking. The questions which they ask in multiple choice questions in all the competitive exams, it is based on critical thinking concept. And how this critical thinking will develop? Only through inquiry based learning. Because through inquiry based learning, a student's mind will have different sort of questions, and um, they will they will ask the questions to the teachers, and a teacher will get opportunity to answer to all those questions. Once we answer to all those questions, it will go and store in their brain. So whenever they see such type of questions in the competitive exam, it becomes very easier for them to solve it. Okay, so these are the benefits when we shift from normal memorization technique to inquiry based learning. Okay, now last one, integration of interdisciplinary knowledge. Okay, so integration of interdisciplinary knowledge includes not only the bookish knowledge, whatever is given in our syllabus. Okay, not only we are going to deal with them, okay, we are also connecting the dots to other approach. Okay, so say for example, in science, if you are teaching something about environment, okay, so these things can be again connected to real life application, like benefits of planting trees. You can take the students, okay, do some activity, ask them to plant some trees, and then you can ask them the benefits of planting trees, how it is reducing global warming, how the global warming is affecting the whole world. All these you can connect the dots. Okay, so apart from bookish knowledge, you are also exploring the students to the entire disciplinary knowledge of other subjects as well, and other real life applications as well. Now, in inquiry based learning, there are totally four phases. Okay, the first phase is the student enables them to inquire. So when they inquire something, okay, it will spark their curiosity. It will give them confidence to pose questions. Okay, you might have observed in a classroom of maybe 30 or 40 students, only few students will remain very, very active. Okay, once the teacher completes some topic, they themselves will raise up and they will ask more questions. They will throw more questions. But there are certain students, okay, those who are like having inferiority complex or something, or if they are afraid of asking questions, hesitant to ask questions in front of others, okay, they will simply remain quiet. Okay, but what we think by seeing those students, we think that okay, this student may not be studying well. Okay, that's why he's not throwing questions to the teachers. That is not the case actually. So if we give right platform only, the student will get confidence to ask questions. Okay, and second thing what will happen is reflect. So when they pose questions, okay, so it will create a reflection. Okay, it will allow them to pause, think critically, and then ask questions. Okay, and the third thing is evaluate. Okay, once the teachers they deliver the answer to the student, okay, he will think, he will assess whether whatever the teacher has told is right or wrong. Okay, he will try to validate the concept, he will try to give the validity whether the answer what I received is right or not. Okay, nowadays the students are very smart. Okay, they have access to every AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini AI, or Perplexity AI, and even Google. Google has become like just a common thing, a common search engine. But most of the things we get information from AI tools. Okay, and a student knows each and everything. So before he comes inside the classroom itself, he would have, got a lot of information through book as well as through AI platform. So it's very important for a teacher whenever we decide to give an answer to the questions, it should be very authentic. If we don't know the answer, we should tell them, see, I don't know the answer today. I'll go through it and then I'll explain it. So then only what will happen is a student will get the proper answer, and whenever he try to assess and validate the findings, he will also be very satisfied. And then last step of inquiry based learning is to construct. Okay, after getting a lot of answers, he will try to create an understanding based on the answer. So he will get the proper solution to all the answer. Okay. So these are the four phases of inquiry-based learning. So what are the benefits of inquiry-led learning? The first benefit is, as I already told you, it celebrates curiosity among the student. Okay, the student will be very, very curious till the end of the class. All the 40 minutes, okay, he will remain very, very much focused until he completes the activity. Second one, it builds creativity among the student because not all the student will complete the activity in the same way. Okay, so it helps them to develop their creativity based upon their level of understanding. And the third one is enhances problem solving skill. This is very, very important and it is very, very essential nowadays in order to score more marks in competitive exam. So whenever they get involved in so many activities inside the classroom, it will enable them to do the problem solving of any kind. And then demonstrates interconnectedness. As I already told you, not only the subject knowledge or whatever is given in the book, it also helps them to interconnect with other subjects and other real life skills. And the fifth one is it gives the students autonomy. Full freedom will be given to the student where they can arrive at the conclusion of all the activities or all the questions which we throw or all the tasks which we give to them, and then provides authentic differentiation. So they themselves will come into the conclusion whether whatever the activity they have done, it is right or wrong. If it is wrong, they will ask question and then we have to rectify it. Okay, so these are the benefits of inquiry-led learning. So what is the difference between inquiry method of learning as well as rote learning? Okay, so when we apply only memorization technique in our classroom, rote learning will happen. So in the aspect of focus, in rote learning, we will only focus on memorization. The teacher will only give them certain questions. We will ask them, see, these are the answers. You have to study and come. But in inquiry-led learning, questioning and exploration will happen. Not only the student will memorize, okay, they will start raising up questions. Okay, and then learning type in rote learning, it will be only passive-ended learning. Okay, only the teacher will give lecture and then he will go. But here in inquiry-led learning, active and engaged learning will happen inside the classroom. Both the teacher as well as student will have a complete connect throughout the classroom. Skills develop in rote learning only whatever they have memorized, they will recall. Okay, but here in inquiry-led learning, they will develop critical thinking as well as problem solving skills. And in case of motivation, rote learning is only for exam oriented one. A student will be very much focused on scoring marks alone. But here in inquiry-led learning, they are not bothered about marks. Okay, they will fully focused upon curiosity. Okay, whether whatever they have learned is correct or not. If it is incorrect, okay, how to solve it. Okay, this type of curiosity it will drive among the student. And the last one in retention aspect, rote learning is just a short term memory. Okay, whatever I have learned through rote learning, okay, so many things I forgot. Okay, but when a student learns through inquiry led learning, it will retain them for the long term. Okay, see, simple example I'll tell you. Memory poems we would have learned. Okay, so many memory poems in English we would have learned. Okay, only few of them we remember till now. But the same thing, letter writing. Okay, a teacher would have explained about the steps of formal letter, informal letter. A student will never forget it. Why? Because when we teach them about how to write a letter, we will allow them to do it. Okay, we will explain each and everything. How to write the from address, how to write the to address, how to begin the subject, how to write the content, okay, how to complete the conclusion. Okay, so a student, when he tries by writing the letter himself, he will commit so many mistakes. And while he commit mistakes, a teacher will call him and they will show him. So these are the mistakes. Here the comma is not there. Here the gap you have not given. Subject you have not written properly. All these things, when the teacher explains them, it helps him to again rethink, and when he again try to write the letter, he will never ever forget it in whatever the topic. Okay, if we give him to write a letter, he will write the letter smoothly. So this is what, okay, is the benefit of inquiry based learning instead of rote learning. So some of the examples and activities of inquiry-based learning is, as I told you already, if it is a science class, you must perform science experiments. Okay. Second type of inquiry-based learning is you should take the students to various places via field trip. Because most of the matriculation school as well as CBSE schools, they do that. Because when you take the student to various places only, when they see and explore, they learn so many things. And classroom debates you should keep often, projects you should give to the students often, and then group work. Okay, so these are the things, these are the activities which you conduct inside your classroom. It will make your classroom more driven towards inquiry based learning. So a very short video I have taken you so that you can understand deeply about what is actually inquiry based learning. This video is just for a 5 minutes. I want everyone to watch this video.
In The Order of the Phoenix, the fifth of the Harry Potter series, Dolores Umbridge takes over as the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and instantly transforms the classroom into this textbook-based, standardized, test-focused classroom. And Harry questions whether this will prepare them for fighting against Voldemort, he who must not be named. And that's when Umbridge punishes him. And he ends up forming his own school within a school called Dumbledore's Army. Now, Dumbledore's Army is purely inquiry-based. While Harry is the teacher, he is mostly the guide on the side, empowering students to ask questions and find the answers themselves. They rely on each other and on various spell books to solve problems and answer their questions. It is a space of experimentation. And while the process might seem messy compared to Umbridge's standardized approach, the students learn at a rapid pace because they aren't wasting their time repeating what they already know. This is an example of inquiry-based learning, although since it takes place in the UK, it's probably inquiry-based learning. I don't really know. Inquiry-based learning has existed for thousands of years. Both Socrates and Confucius used variations on their own inquiry-based format. It's a critical component to the scientific method of the early Enlightenment, and it was a core idea of both Dewey and Montessori's ideas around student-centered learning. Padaste shares a model of the 4 phases of inquiry. It starts with orientation, which is often a form of discussion. It's where they become aware of the key idea. And from there, it moves into conceptualization, where students generate questions and they define a hypothesis. This leads to an investigation phase, where students explore, experiment, and interpret data, often in a way that's flexible and dynamic. It can even seem kind of cyclical. And then finally, they move into a conclusion. Heather Banshee and Randy Bell defined 4 different types of inquiry that you can view on sort of a spectrum from teacher-centered / structured into learner-centered / open. Level 1 is confirmation inquiry, where the teacher teaches the concepts, creates the questions, and models the process for students. They basically just kind of go along with it to learn about the process. Level 2 is structured inquiry, where the teacher creates the initial set of questions and kind of shares the procedures, but then the students walk through the rest of the inquiry process by collecting and analyzing the data and drawing their own conclusions. Level 3 is guided inquiry, and this is sort of the beginning of what we typically think of as inquiry. This is where the teacher provides the initial research question or questions, but students own the research process and the experimentation. And then level 4 is open inquiry or true inquiry. Here's where students formulate their own questions, design their experiments or their research, and collect their own data or facts that they then share in their findings. Here are a few places where you as a teacher can start with inquiry-based learning. In a language arts or social studies class, you can do a Wonder Day or Wonder Week project where students develop their own questions and move through the inquiry process on their own. You can also do a Genius Hour project where students not only ask their own questions, but design their own product as well. In math, you could have students explore a concept and develop their own problems, which is one of the things I love about the What Can You Do With This Process of Dan Meyer. And in science, you could do something like a science fair project or a Mythbuster style approach to testing an urban legend. The key idea, though, is this. If we want students to own their learning, if we want them to remain curious, if we want classrooms to be bastions of curiosity and wonder, well, then we need to have something like inquiry-based learning in place so that they learn how to ask great questions, find the answers, and share their results with their peers.
Okay, so hope you might have understood this video. Now it's an icebreaker time for all the teachers. I'll ask few questions from whatever I have taught you through this PPT, and let's see how many of you can able to answer this. The first question is, during a weather project, students make observations and forecast future trends. Which approach is this? Is it inquiry-based learning or lecture-based learning or drill learning or gamified repetition? Uh, I'll give 1 minute time. I request all the teachers to put it in the chat box. Put your answers in the chat box.
Right or
Yeah, your
wrong, all
time.
can attempt.
Yeah. Whether it is right or wrong, no issues. Yeah, I'm receiving the answers. Option A, inquiry-based learning, inquiry-based, very good. So inquiry-based learning is the right answer because you have given a project to them. Okay, the student by themselves they observe about the what is the weather or climate. Okay, and then he will also observe how it will be tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So here the student will go and search in various platform about the weather conditions in different places, so that he inquires about everything and then he arrives at the conclusion. So inquiry based learning is the right answer. Well, let's move on to the second question. A science teacher asks students to design water filters using household items. So what kind of learning is this? Here are your options. First one, rut memorization, inquiry learning, passive observation, or concept mapping. Your time starts now. You can put your answers in the chat box. I'm receiving mixed answers. Somebody said D, somebody's telling B. Uh, yeah, I'm waiting for more answers. Passive observation, inquiry learning, option D, concept mapping. So the right answer, shall I tell you? Yeah. So experimental learning, as somebody Vijayalakshmi from Safa School, she has said, experiential learning with inquiry base, which means option B is the right answer here. Actually, concept mapping comes only uh, like mind map. Okay, they will only understand the concept and they will first write it like a flow chart. Here, the actual thing is the student, he is designing himself. Okay, he's completely designing the whole water filter kind of machine. So when he designs something, he will undergo all the processes. He will look for the hypotheses. He will collect all the materials. He will do concept mapping and everything. And later, okay, he will complete that experiment. Okay, so here he will do a lot of inquiries. As even our Dr. Hazir Azazab, when he conducts the Omiyat Science Fair, he relies solely on this type of learning only. Then only the student will be able to complete the science fair project through critical thinking. Otherwise, it will become just like a exhibit. Okay. And let's move on to the third question, final question. In a debate on environment policies, students research and defend their stance. So, which method is used? Is it direct instruction, inquiry through dialogue, memorization technique, or is it group? Yeah, you can throw your answers in the chat box. Let's see who is giving the right answer. I'm receiving the answers. Mixed answers B and D. D. Aisha Rightway is telling D. Abdul Azad is telling B. Sana Parveen is telling D. So I'm getting a lot of responses. I'm still expecting few responses. Let's wait for 30 more seconds. Whether it is right or wrong, no issues. You can throw your answers. Very good. So Vijayalakshmi is telling again group participation by putting inquiry-based learning to use. So here the right answer will be option D, group, because when you conduct a debate, you have to form a group. Okay, you have to form a two teams. So even though they apply inquiry-based learning through dialogue, so both the option B as well as D suits here. Okay, so the final conclusion remarks I'll give. Challenges and teachers' role. What are all the teachers' role here inside the classroom, and what are all the challenges which they face when they adapt inquiry-based learning? So the first thing is it is resource and time intensive, which means a teacher has to fully prepare themselves. Okay, before they step into the class, they have to collect all the datas. They have to process the whole framework. How my 45 minutes classroom should be. How many questions I have to give it to them. How many beginner type of question I have to give. How many intermediate type of questions I have to give. And then how much time I have to give to the student to complete the activity. Okay, so for that, a teacher has to have very high level of teacher expertise. Okay, it will not happen in just a day. It will happen only when we practice for so many times. Okay, as a teacher, I mean, if you are a fresher also, if you want to adapt the inquiry-based learning inside the classroom, once you implement it, you will come across so many errors. So through errors, when you learn, you will get a lot of experience. You will get a lot of expertise. Then it becomes very easier for you to do the lesson planning, and then you can have this type of engaging classroom. And then third thing is potential for reduced coverage of curriculum. Some of the challenges what we face now is most of the teachers is telling if we put more activities inside the classroom, if we rely more on experimental base, we are not getting time to cover the syllabus. It is not so. Okay, you need not be like all the things you have to cover, whatever is given in a chapter, all the things like in a week time you have to cover. Okay, you should try to summarize the whole subject thing into a day or two. So it'll come only when you do a lot of precise planning. Everything, every topic, each and every subtopic you can cover, you can reach out to the student in a day or two also. Okay, by giving proper activities as well. So that will come only when you uh, come across various challenges as well as when you plan it effectively. And the fourth thing is assessment challenges. Here, memorization technique, if you use, means it becomes very easy for us. Okay, we just throw some questions and we expect answers from the student. This is what is happening in all the schools nowadays. Okay, so quarterly exams, half-yearly exams, or public exam, whatever they conduct, okay, they solely rely on rote learning. Very handful of questions which they ask in the question paper, it is based on critical thinking. Okay, but when you apply the inquiry based learning as being given in CBSE as well as IB curriculum, okay, here it is not so. Here the student will be posed with various type of difficult questions. Okay, some students will be able to answer them, some students may not be able to answer them. It's not like they are not able to answer them completely, they may take some time to answer them. Okay, so to assess different level of understanding, it becomes a little time consuming. Okay, these are the challenges which we face. And the last one is equity concerns. Okay, so after receiving a lot of answers from the student, how many answers are correct? How many answers are wrong? If it is wrong, okay, how I have to use a different method to make him explain about this concept. Okay, so these are some of the challenges which we face as a teacher. So but again, I'll tell you, based on my experience, what I suggest the teachers is IBL is a very promising thing. In future, every teacher has to adapt this only. Okay, even government is taking a lot of initiatives like in primary classes, Ennomeltum is a like very transformative approach which they have adapted inside our classroom. Through enumeratum concept, the student is not able, I mean, not only learning the concept through rote learning, they are involved themselves completely through different activities, and that's the reason why they are able to understand the concept easily. And even a lot of science fairs which we conduct inside our school, like OMIAT has come up with science fair, and even the Tamil Nadu government, they offer science fair through SIDP projects, okay, and even Inspire Award projects. So these things, help the student to do the research on their own and then arrive to some good conclusion. So any questions if you have in your mind, you can feel free to ask. You can either put your questions in the chat box or you can even unmute and answer. I mean, unmute and ask your questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Time exceeded 41.
Oh, sorry, sir. Okay.
But
10 minutes have exceeded.
so
Okay.
7:30 we have to conclude because they have to
Okay,
take
okay,
rest
fine.
again. Thank
Okay, okay,
you,
fine, sir.
Modi Mohammed Shafiq. Sir, very interesting session you have done. It could have taken
Jazakallah,
another
sir.
half an hour more also.
Ah,
It was
yes,
so
sir.
interesting and very useful. But you have concise it in a very short pattern and very useful also. And so many teachers will be benefited. And we are very thankful to Hakim Matriculation School teachers. Today also they are in large numbers. Nearly 15 teachers
MashaAllah.
from one school are there. So like that,
Mm-hmm.
we request all the participants. Many principals are here. Taj Muhyiddin Saab, our vice president, is also here. If they request their school teachers, at least in a month, all the teachers should attend. Like that, if they make it a rule or advice, then it would be more beneficial. And our batch 7 and batch 8 and even batch 6 trainees, BSS trainees are here. And from many other schools also, from Mel Visharam and Anambadi and many people are here. We are all thankful to them and
Jazakallah,
we
sir.
request to participate in future also. And for Mazharulum teachers also, you have to do some groundwork, sir.
Ah, yes, sir,
Requesting
sure.
to attend so that they also must be benefited by these programs.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Inshallah.
sir. So I'll
Thank you
post the
very much.
PPT in the group.
Yes.
Teachers can download and they can use it as a reference.
But once in a month, at least they must come in a group and watch what is going on, and they will be benefited by this. Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Jazakallah. We
Jazakallah,
will
sir.
meet next Saturday. With
Inshallah.
this, the program ends.